This person is far above and beyond the expectations of like a Pete Buttigieg or whatever the establishment's trying to present, okay, as the best path forward. The way I look at it is like, you could take issue with Zoran, you could take issue with Graham Plattner and their campaigns, but would America be in a better situation overall? Tune into it and let's see what he has to say.
Much of the world that we have today is the specific result of policy choices made by establishment politicians. And the shameful truth of all of this is the blame cannot simply be left at the feet of one political party. We have two parties that want the votes of working people, but neither has done anything lately to earn it.
Yeah, his criticisms of the Democrats' feckless attitude has been getting a lot of play on Twitter and annoying people apparently,
Support
which I say good.
Must be earned. And that will never happen as long as Democrats are part of the same corporate apparatus that the Republicans are. Now, Susan Collins' charade is wearing thin. This is the easiest applause lines in these speeches. No one cares that you pretend to be remorseful as you sell out to lobbyists.
Better not say anything positive about Plattner or bad empanadas going to get very angry.
No one cares when
Man,
you sell out to corporations, and no one cares.
Shut
when
the
you
up,
sell
even in jest, okay? Don't even joke about that shit. I don't give a fuck what he has to say.
From the working class to the ruling
dick.
class in American history. Symbolic not reopen hospitals. Weak condemnations do not bring back Roe v. Wade.
You're really showing a guy on stream that did 5 Iraq tours? Do you not give a fuck about Arab lives after all you've done? Yes, I don't. I don't. That's what it is. That must be it. Yeah, you got me.
Not
forgivable. Maoist.
A performative politics that enables the destruction of our way of life is disqualifying for the role of United States Senator.
The benefit out of viewers are already here pre-mad. I don't know how you do this with so many idiots. I've been doing this my whole career. Who gives a shit? This doesn't mean. Look, I'm looking at what he's saying.
Better than Susan Collins.
I understand that many of us have been burned before.
And Maine deserves an alternative.
There's no reason to immediately assume that this is another Fetterman clone. It can be the case.
Status quo that she is.
But I'm not going to immediately slap aside.
I am running because it is time for change.
This dude has literally one single tweet about Palestine.
Because I believe
he just started running for Congress
and in a better system. And I believe that a politics that is willing to sell anyone out is a politics that will eventually sell.
Bro. I'm sorry. We can't. I'm not doing this whole thing with like leftists who just genuinely come in here and they go, look, man, I'm mentally ill and you need to abide by my standards right now. Okay? You need to abide by my standards. Like, I'm the most mentally ill person you've ever encountered. I am a truly repulsive individual to every single person around me. Okay? To every single person around me. It is unimaginable how much I make people I revile people. People are they shudder in disgust. They throw up when they're around me. And you have to be just like me in your analysis. Okay, my mental illness is my strongest suit. My mental illness and my insanity is what makes me the greatest leftist of all time. It is a weapon. Okay, get a job. Shut up. Calm down. Okay. I didn't say that his 5 tours, even his 5 tours is not even the major issue here, even though that is an issue. The actual issue is the fact that he also worked with private contractors. Okay, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. On the opposite side, it's like seemingly there is a movement for more populist left-wing candidates that are running. And I will always put a leftist ass in a seat if I can. Okay? That's it. Mental illness is not a moral wrong. What the fuck? Man, shut the fuck up. You know that's not what I'm talking about. It's not. But when you present your own schizophrenic hallucinations as though it's like the most morally consistent political position, it sets a setback for us, for all of us. Shut up. Please.
The reason we are in the straits we are today is because that is what has happened. But it has happened because we let it. And the world that we live in today is not how it has to be. We can have a healthcare system that is not a mechanism of extracting wealth out of working Americans, but a guarantee for safety and health for all. Major life events like buying a home or getting a college education can be points of joy and pride, and not relegation to a lifetime of debt. Our taxpayer dollars can build schools and hospitals in America, not bombs to destroy them in Gaza. We can take back the wealth that belongs to us, that has been stolen by corrupt politicians and the corporations that bought them. We can use government to usher in a golden age for unions and workers, not double down on gig work and union busting for the benefit of Wall Street and CEOs. And we can have an economy and a government that works for the 99% and not just for the 1%.
Every campaign ad speaks in the I spoke to him in person. He spoke of it. I talked to the finance director for an hour. We talked about it. They're goated. I met him in person. He spoke on it at an event near where I live. He speaks about how he realized he was conned, that people were killed because of capitalist demands, and suffers as a disabled veteran as a result.
One that looks out for the most vulnerable, for children,
that's what
and
I've
for the
seen as
elderly.
well. Again,
where we lift each other up, whether we are trying to start businesses or go to college or buying a home. Where we empower workers to fight for fair pay and safe conditions, and where we reap the profits of our hard work. To find that path forward, we need only look down on the shoulders of the giants we stand on. The legacy of the labor movement. The legacy of the civil rights movement.
he loves Rockies, by the way. Yeah, that's his
And
platform.
these are legacies
if you notice.
of not
If you notice, he's running on a platform of wanting to kill more Iraqi children. Have you guys noticed that? That's what he keeps saying over and over again. Dude, you need to shut up. I always say this. Some of y'all just need to shut up. You're getting in your own way, okay?
A 5-day work week.
If you're for real, no, I'm being sarcastic. I'm making fun of the dipshits in the chat.
Ancestors organized for it and fought for it. Regardless of what some might want you to believe, power exists for those who are willing to organize and to take it. And power is for the people. That is what I am asking you to do here today, is to come out and
Does it piss me off that everyone is now applauding Gaza genocide talking points after saying you were wrong? Why would that ever piss me off? I don't care about being right. I want others to also see the truth. I will always celebrate people changing their idiotic positions initially. Not even for a brief second do I feel burned or angry or resentful about that shit.
I am asking you to show up, to come out, go to events, knock doors, do the hard work, do what is uncomfortable, and that is to connect with your neighbors and help us write a new story that leads us from this troubling chapter of our history.
Entryism is not the way. He does entryism. That is a dead end. You're right. Why is Graham Plattner running for Senate instead of just sitting around in my Twitch chat talking about how everyone is actually bad and wrong? I think we're banning all mentions of bad empanada going forward, by the way. We're banning mods. We should ban all mentions of bad empanada, and we should purge the community of all the bad empanada enjoyers. No, it's done. I don't give a shit, okay? I don't care. Go watch him then, okay? He has sound critique and sound analysis. Go watch him, please. Why? Because his loyalists are so unimaginably annoying. And it's really annoying, not even because it's like, oh, he's saying something truthful and that's actually undermining, my liberal perspective or anything. It's annoying because it reminds me of how much of a failure I am and how much of a failure he is, because it shows me that people only listen to whatever figure that they have parasocially invested themselves into, rather than, going on their own journey of learning and developing their own opinions. It's just another version of what I get mad about with respect to people who love molestiny. Obviously, with Bad Empanada, we are aligned on the ultimate goals, I think. Okay? But it's so dumb and childish to come in here and be like, wow, he said this. I don't care. He is an irrelevant figure. He's even more irrelevant than I am. Okay? And I'm an irrelevant figure in the grand scheme of things as well. You guys have propped us up, myself and Bad Empanada and whoever the f you watch and listen to, as though we are these these beacons, these political revolutionaries or whatever. Okay? It's not the case. It's not the case at all. We're cooked. We have no semblance of organizing. We have nothing. We just don't have anything. We don't have anything in this country. The best you can expect from a robust left movement in this country is to marginally improve the working conditions, marginally improve the living conditions of the working class in this nation, while also simultaneously urging American foreign policy to change its trajectory so it gets out of the way. Okay? That's it. And a lot of you guys don't understand that. You think like, I don't know. A lot of you guys just don't necessarily care about electoralism, and that's fine. Okay. I understand why some people would not choose to participate, but if you're not going to participate in it, then don't shit fling from the sidelines. Okay. Like, as long as it doesn't make him entirely wrong, man. There needs to be some kind of reckoning with the fact that someone's actual past is a killer. Okay. There you go. Once again, there are valid concerns to have here. 100%. But if you're shutting yourself off from even analyzing the situation, interpreting it on your own because you listen to an Argentinian dude or you listen to an Australian dude living in Argentina and his assessment of it, and just you're repeating the talking points in here, then you're not engaging in any sort of real critique. Okay? That's number one. Number two, once again, when I look at these sorts of developments, I look at it from the frame of what the broader American, what the broader government and their attitude is on these sorts of issues. This person is above and beyond aligned with, at least the way he's communicated himself so far. This person is far above and beyond the expectations of like a Pete Buttigieg or whatever the establishment's trying to present. Okay, as the best path forward. The way I look at it is like, you could take issue with Zoran, you could take issue with Graham Plattner and their campaigns. But would America be in a better situation overall if it was, if we had 100 Graham Plattners as opposed to not having any? And if the answer is yes, you move on with that assessment in mind. Okay? That's it. I'm not demanding you like hug and kiss him. Okay? I'm not demanding you idolize him, but I can't even open up the conversation without a bunch of people chirping at me. It's ridiculous. We're not going to play that game here. Okay. If you think that this implies that I'm betraying this revolutionary sentiment or something, then sure, that's it. I make my assessment off of I have a goal in mind, but I make my assessment and moderate my commentary off of like what the broader consciousness looks like, what the broader opinions look like. Okay. And while I'm still uncompromising when it comes to electoralism, when it comes to propping up candidates, there are always going to be candidates that are far better than the average Democratic politician. And if one presents itself and they have a viable alternative, you have to look at the rest of the race and recognize that if he's the best and he is choosing to unseat a Republican politician, then it is idiotic to not push for more a robust and a larger national platform for people like this. I already said you can't be pro-Israel and garner support at this stage. And it's obvious that not only is he tackling the issue of Democrats' inability to put hurdles in front of the accelerated fascist administration, he's also openly communicating that what Israel is doing with our support is a side. So he absolutely passes that. He absolutely passes that bare minimum standard. These are my metrics. You might have different ones, and that's okay. But the thing I won't allow you to do is come in here and just chirp because you watched a YouTuber and you're just trying to relitigate his anger in here because it makes me feel like you don't have any stake in this at all. And for you, praxis or political action and political engagement is simply yelling in a Twitch chat. And that's morally repugnant. Okay. It's disgusting. Go build the vanguard on your own on the countryside. That's it. It's so sad. Like, you're no different than DGGers, just so you know. Just because you're doing it at the behest of what you assume is like creating a Marxist-Leninist vanguard or something, or exhibiting revolutionary class politics in your mind, doesn't change the dynamic at all. You are literally doing the exact same thing. You are simply wearing politics as a sleeve to advance drama. It's idiotic. It's childish. It's parasocial. It disgusts me. That's it. Yeah. You're just doing drama, but Marxist style, I guess. Why does everything always need to go back to niche micro e-celebs? Do you not think there's valid criticism in Fetterman, Obama types? I mean, who are you speaking to? Are you speaking to me here? Do you feel as though I have not regularly criticized Obama, and since Fetterman's pivot, have actively shit on Fetterman as well? Like, who you're now addressing a straw man that you propped up in your mind. If you are to say that Graham Plattner is going to be like Obama or Fetterman, yeah, there's a likelihood that that could be the case. But as far as he hasn't shown that, what's the purpose here? What's the purpose? Okay, I think you're dismissing a valid conversation that needs to be had about the Obama strategy. Run as a progressive, govern as a liberal because of people bringing up bad empanada? No, because not a single person has presented a valid reason as to why this is the case. They're just simply relitigating talking points that they saw in a YouTube video. Okay, that's it. You have your assumptions, and I have mine. That's all you have right now. This person is not even elected. This person has only launched his campaign like a month ago. And you're already in here being like, I want to be the guy who says, I told you so. I think this is pessimistic. Okay? If he was running around doing wishy-washy sentiment, if he was demonstrating wishy-washy sentiment about his own service, about American military conquest in the global South, then you would have a little bit more validity to your arguments. The problem here is you will look for this perspective that you have in your mind, born out of pessimism, is now going to guide every single point of analysis that you engage with because you just want to be right. That's it. You want to be right. Okay. I understand people keep bringing it up, but the aspect can't be ignored to discuss his tendency. I've been watching since 2019. I remember your support saying similar things for Fetterman. Yes. John Fetterman presented himself as a progressive figurehead and then literally went back on every single thing that he promised. Okay? Every single thing, including shit that is directly related to his own personal life. His wife was an undocumented migrant, and now he's anti-immigrant. What are we talking about? There's a reason why that is like not the Obama technique, for the record. That's something beyond that. John Fetterman became one of the most reactionary politicians in Congress virtually overnight. If you think that everyone is going to turn out like John Fetterman, then you can't vote for anybody because everyone could be like John Fetterman. Literally every. So then your argument is simply, don't vote for anybody. Don't vote for a single fucking person. Do not engage in electoralism. Do you see what my anger is here? So if you recognize that, and why dismiss people? Because the fucking concern is psychotic. That's it. There's a reason why he is a unique figure. Yeah, then don't vote for the Democrats. What's the issue? Yeah, if you don't want to vote, don't vote for the Democrats. Okay? You just espouse the concern yourself, though. Once again, you want to win an argument. You don't want to actually, you are currently not looking at this in a reasonable fashion. You are simply looking at this to say, this guy's fake. I already made up my mind on it. And I want to convince everyone else that he's fucking fake before we even make up our own minds. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's why it's frustrating to have this back and forth over and over again. And it's much easier to just fucking, nail a bunch of these chatters and rip them to shreds and have them chirp away in the fucking wind and in splinter communities that they cultivate off of the resentment that they feel that a community that they once thought was warm and welcoming is now hostile to their worldview. And therefore, it must be a reactionary one because they simply do not exhibit the same politics of purity that you have. Okay? You're doing, and once again, now, how quickly do you fall into identity politics? This is pure liberal idpol. Someone who has this opinion that you hold right now should never go, hold on, as a brown, poor immigrant, I want real change. Why did you choose the need to fill in the blanks for us right now? Because you're a fucking liberal too, okay? That's it. That's it. Excuse me, as a poor brown immigrant, you're actually currently saying that my criticisms are not warranted. Yes, it's born out of a place of absolute pessimism. It's an understandable pessimism that you have because nothing good has ever happened for you. It's understandable. Nothing good ever comes out of American politics. This is true. But that's why I always say we sit back and we wait. Just give it some time before you make your assessment instead of immediately trying to rush to be first in the market, to be the guy who's right. Okay? If you're not invested in electoralism, then that's fine, but you don't have to fucking criticize it. Okay? From the outside. I have a different method than you do. He has significantly better bona fides than John Fetterman in terms of his investment. Even being a part of the DSA alone is like automatically putting him above John Fetterman anyway. As a rich white guy, isn't it easy to wait for you? How quickly do fucking libtards showcase their libtard ass behavior in here as a rich white guy? Yes, dude, I'm a rich white guy. I should just vote for the Republicans then, don't you think? Why do I do this kind of advocacy? None of it actually harms me, right? Isn't that right? So why am I? I'm not trans. Why am I advocating for trans rights? I can pay for my health care. Why do I want everyone to be able to pay? Why do I want everyone to have free health care? I already paid off my student loan debts. I paid off my family's student loan debts. Why do I want all student loan debt to be eradicated and for college to be free? Why? I'm a white guy. Why do I talk about black liberation? Why do I talk about discriminatory practices in American policing? The racist outcomes of the criminal justice system. It doesn't impact me at the end of the day. Also, why are you here? Why aren't you watching someone who is from a marginalized background and instead are here? There you go. What do you do for black people? Ugh, I'm not even going to entertain this. I'm not dignifying whatever fucking dumbass position that you hold here. It's the classic, you haven't had enough black guests on the show. And then you just, arrive at a position where you got a white guy spelling out exactly what he's done for black people. Like I'm the fucking champion of black people. Shut the fuck up. If you can't figure it out, then that's on you. At this point, are people deliberately derailing? I think so. This is such a dumb way to deal with this, man. It's not Paul to say someone has an interest in certain outcomes. Hey, tell me how again AOC voted for the bill to ban funding for the Iron Dome law. This is such a dumb way to deal with this, man. It's not Paul to say someone has an interest in certain outcomes. You have an interest in improving both your material conditions and everyone else's. Okay, your background. The reason why you're bringing up your background is because you want to add some semblance of like weight to your words. Okay. I believe that you actually have an investment in improving the material conditions of all working class individuals around the world. You've been in here for 48 months. I suspect that if you didn't have this kind of opinion, you wouldn't be a 48-month subscriber. The only reason why you add that to the conversation is because now you want to be like, see, you don't understand. My concerns are more valid. Correct, I agree. That's why when I see another possible figure that can go down the route of Fetterman and Obama or AOC in some cases, I'm rightfully cautious. Correct, I agree with you on most of these. You just want to be right, man. That's it. You want to be right. That's it. And right now, you and I are both. I haven't even made an assessment for the record. Like, I have my own skepticism, especially when someone has that kind of background. But I'm not going to let that get in the way of doing proper analysis off of what he is communicating right now. Okay? That's it. That's it. You, on the other hand, want to be like, no, you have to have the same doom and gloom analysis that I do. This is not about being right, okay? In many ways, there is no difference between what you're saying and what you're demanding from me right now in my commentary and what that other chatter said. Don't you feel mad that like all these people that previously yelled at you because of your correct position on Gaza are now cheering on when someone also says it's a genocide? No, of course I'm not mad. I'm actually very excited. I'm happy, at least as happy as one can be in spite of the present circumstances, because I don't give a shit about being right. Who gives a fuck that I'm right and now people are seeing that I'm right? That doesn't mean anything. I want things to change. I want people to recognize the truth. I want people to take action. I don't give a fuck about like appearing as though I was right all along. Being right alone doesn't actually move the needle. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? Anyway, the easiest solution to this kind of attitude, by the way, is just simply go outside. Go outside. Talk to some random people. Okay? See where they're at. See what their position is. See how they feel. Okay? That's it. That's literally it. You do that, and you will no longer behave like this in the way that you present yourself online. That's it. For the people who claim to be completely checked out of electoral politics, they sure do love focusing all their energy and effort on talking about senators being potentially shitty. I hate AOC. I don't like her, and I think she's cynical operative, but I don't care about talking about her 24/7. I hope this guy is good. Chatters think they're above it all, but by engaging in this, they're showing that they love the liberal electoral slop more than anyone. Yes. And for them, it's just another reflection of team sports. But this time you're on a totally separate team. It's not that, you know how like liberals only care about like Democrats winning, not because of like the policy positions of the Democrats and what they actually might do for the working class, but instead because they just like want their team to win and they want their enemies to feel humiliated. And for some people, they're also looking at this and interpreting it from the perspective of team sports. That's it. But this time they're not on team D or team R. They just want to be right. And that's all it is. They want to be here 3-4 months down the line, or a year from now, 2 years from now, to say, I told you so ahead of time. Why didn't you see it? The warning signs were all there. I'm not even saying that there aren't warning signs. I'm simply stating that it's too soon to tell. Okay? And many of you that are simply invested in I told you so's don't even understand that you are not presenting an alternative at all. You're not, because you don't care. That's what's so frustrating about this. When it comes down to it, you got to analyze what Graham Plattner's platform is, and you got to compare that platform to the other candidates on the Democratic primary side and who these guys choose to unseat. He stands above everybody else in the Democratic primaries as far as I have seen. And he certainly is above Susan Collins. If you pull yourself out of the equation and say, well, who cares? At the end of the day, he's just going to be a part of this genocidal war machine, then yeah, you're right. But that standard cannot be applied to any sort of electoral analysis, because every single politician ultimately becomes a part of this machine. So even though you are technically right, you're being a fucking asshole. And you're also behaving in an incredibly unproductive, incredibly cynical conversation with no real interest in implementing any change whatsoever. And you're not even presenting an alternative solution at all. You have no solutions. You just want to fucking yell at the wind. That's it. Chatter's finding out that Hasan isn't actually an American bad third world is tanky like his haters claim is so funny. No, it's like I recognize the evils of American empire. I speak to them all the time. But I also recognize the limitations that Americans, regular ass Americans have. I recognize the social conditioning that they go under as well. And the America bad campus in general don't actually do anything. Anyway, they're just bitter, they're jaded, they're angry for understandable reasons because they see the fucking ultra violence that America presents to the global south, and they just keep fucking yelling about it. That's it. They don't do anything. As I've said before, I think the best possible solution here in the perfect world, within the confines of what can be, within the confines of what is possible, is for there to be thousands of leftist anti-imperialist candidates running within the confines of the Democratic Party, or potentially a third party if there was a viable third party alternative. And then after seizing control over the American state, they slowly claw back America's imperial ambitions around the world and stop getting in the way. All the while, in that process, hopefully improving the material standing of American workers in general. Some people simply unironically take on this, my anger and resentment is not with the American state. It's with the American working class. I want them to suffer. It's just, a silly position to hold, especially if you're doing any sort of electoral analysis. So I always say, look, if you don't like electoralism, it's understandable. It's bourgeois democracy. It's fake. It's not real. I don't disagree with you. But if you actually don't appreciate it and don't think it's productive at all, you can see yourself out of this conversation. You don't have to also just sit there and fling shit, That's it. It's just not for you. It's not for you. Why? Why do you find yourself so invested in this? It's something that I do not understand. You click away when I play video games. Click away when I talk about elections. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
This explosion in technology, all of this creation of new wealth, what the hell happened? Well, I will tell you what happened. There was a study done by the Rand Corporation, not exactly a socialist organization. And what they found is that during that period, there was a $75 trillion transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. So you got all this technology, all this increase in worker productivity, and the end result is the people on top today have never, ever had it so good. Now, that's one reality. Rich getting richer, never had it so good. But it's not just income and wealth inequality. It's not even just concentration of ownership in sector after sector in our economy, whether it's agriculture, transportation, financial services. You got a small number of huge corporations.
Thank you, Open President, for 25. Get the subs.
Those sectors determining what price and how workers are treated. But it's not even just that. These guys not only own the economy, they now own our corrupt political system. So as a result of this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, they said, billionaires, hey, you have the freedom to own the American political system, and the billionaires responded accordingly. They create these super PACs where they can spend as much money as they want. Democracy is not about Elon
Another
Musk
25. Thank you, Open President.
$270 million to elect Donald Trump president. And obviously his reward was to become the most powerful person in government for 3 or 4 months until he and Trump had a lover's quarrel. But it is not just Republicans. It is also the fact that billionaires play a much too significant role in the Democratic Party as well. Let me tell you what a corrupt political system looks like. And it's not just billionaires buying elections. That's bad. It gets even worse than that. When Trump brought forth his big, beautiful bill, which is, in my view, by the way, you're all familiar with that bill, that is the most dangerous, disgusting piece of legislation ever passed in the modern history of this country. As you all know, this is a bill that gave, just think about it. At a time when the rich have never had it so good, gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%. At a time when large corporations are enjoying record-breaking profits, they got a $900 billion tax break. But it's even more disgusting than that, because these huge tax breaks for the rich, you know how they were paid for? They were paid for by $1 trillion cut in Medicaid and a large cut in the Affordable Care Act. They were paid for by a massive cut in nutrition programs for hungry kids. How disgusting is it to give a tax break to a billionaire and take food out of the mouth of kids who are hungry in this country? It was paid for by massive cuts to education, which will make it harder for working class kids to get the higher education that they need. But it goes even beyond that, because what happened is the word gets out to Republicans that if you stand up and be clear that you're going to oppose the bill, you're going to destroy you politically. There's a guy named Tom Tillis, senator from North Carolina. Tillis made a mistake. He actually wrote legislation. Big mistake. So it concludes, he says, I can't vote for this.
See any,
terrible piece.
I don't see any stutters on my end. I don't know. It might be a Twitch server side problem.
Within hours, Trump was on social media ripping this guy apart. Billionaires were saying, we are going to primary you.
Is there actually a stutter?
Later, says,
I don't see it.
I'm not going to run. I can't win. Billionaires are against me. It's all over. Earlier, a few months before that, we had a major budget bill, which was not great, but would have been helpful to working class people. Elon Musk sends out a tweet. He says, anybody who votes for this legislation, I am going to spend unlimited amounts of money to defeat you. You know, in New England, we grow up with the belief that kind of democracy is one person, one vote, not billionaires controlling. These guys not only control the economy, not only control our political system, they own the media. Not an accident Elon Musk owns Twitter. Not an accident Mark Zuckerberg owns Meta, which controls Facebook and Instagram. Not an accident.
I'm not seeing stutters on my end. So I don't know. I don't know what's on. If it's F your end, I don't. It's like I see it. I stuttering. I see it stuttering on my second screen as well, but it's not coming from my end. Let's fix the ingest real quick. Actually fix the stuttering. Oh, it's not fixing the stuttering at all. But it's probably a Twitch server side problem. Because on my end, I'm looking at my bit rate, and my bit rate is stable. If it's skipping and stuttering, it's got to be Twitch server side, or maybe through the you got ops running these Twitch servers. I don't know, but I don't have an issue on my end. Like there's no noticeable drop in bit rate or anything like that. It's just fucking up.
And let me tell you something, tell you a story, if I might, which I think epitomizes kind of where we are. I'm on the Veterans Committee, and I take very seriously the need to make sure that our veterans get all of the health care and the other benefits that they are entitled to.
Wait, why is Bernie not saying all veterans should be driven to suicide for their crimes against humanity? That's so... Man, you know he's fake. You know? That's crazy. That's the expectation some of y'all have, like unironically, when you fucking come in here and you chirp. Okay? Why would a major American political figure not immediately fucking say that they should haunt the dreams of veterans and drive them to fucking suicide? The last 15 minutes of chat has basically been high anxiety chatters venting about trust issues, talking about how electing leftists is the harshness of dating. We thought they were into us, and they weren't. We hate dating. Fuck anyone who suggests dating, and fuck all potential dates that don't immediately want a long-term relationship. You know? Still dragging it? Yeah. It is. I'm dragging it. I'm dragging it. And I'm going to drag these nuts across your fucking face. I'm going to drag you across the finish line as well, whether you like it or not. I'm going to drag you kicking and screaming. The only reason why you take issue with it is because you're sad. You're offended. You're offended because you feel like it's it's hurting your feelings. You feel like your ridiculous expectations of like American political figures is not matching the reality. Why is Bernie Sanders not running on a platform of immediately prosecuting and jailing every single American military veteran, regardless of what their current fucking political positions may be? You have to work within the confines of what's acceptable and what's permissible and what's reasonable.
An impediment to their success. They want it all. They want it all, and they don't care who they step on in order to get even more and more. You would think, look, everybody in this room, this arena, wants a good life. We all want money. We all want to live comfortably. That's kind of natural. But if you had $5 billion, you might think, hey, I did it. I got everything I'm ever going to need in my life. How many homes? You know, Zuckerberg, I think, has 11 homes in Palo Alto, California. Bezos has 14 homes. They got jet planes. They go up to outer space on there where they get bored, you know, and have a good day. When is enough enough? They are prepared to destroy Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the VA, in order to get more for themselves. And the reason is they are very religious people. But you know what their religion is? It's not the Sermon on the Mount. It's not do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Their religion is greed. And they worship on the altar of money. They want more and more and more, and they could care less about the implications of their greed. Love you too. So while the rich get richer and we live in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, what's going on for ordinary people? Well, here's the reality, and you don't hear much about it. Today in America, 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, you all know what paycheck to paycheck is. Many of you are living paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a family living paycheck to paycheck. I know what it's about. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major nation on earth. You know, I always get a kick that many of my colleagues in the Senate, they say, well, love America. Well, if you love America, you love the children of America and the future of America. It's not just the kids, not just the children. We have the highest rate of senior poverty of almost any major country on earth. 22% of seniors in America today are trying to survive on $15,000 a year. I don't know how anybody, let alone a senior, survives on $15,000. Half of seniors trying to get by on $30,000 or less. We have a system, an economic system, which for the working class of this country is broken. How many people here think that our health care system is working? Well, it ain't. It is a broken, cruel, and dysfunctional system. The function of the current healthcare system is not to do what virtually every other major country does, and that is to provide healthcare to all as a human right. The function of this system is to make as much money for the drug companies and the insurance companies as it can. So you got a healthcare system which is broken. You got, in terms of our young people, a child care system. I don't know how it's doing here in Portland, but in Vermont, many places of the country, incredibly expensive, while child care workers are paid totally inadequate wages. We have an education system right now in which Trump and his friends basically want to destroy public education in America. We have teachers in rural areas in my state, and I expect in your state, starting off at $35,000, $40,000 a year. We got millions of young people can't afford to go to college because they don't want to leave school $50,000 or $100,000 in debt. You want to go to medical school, you're a working class kid, you want to go to medical school, you know what you're going to leave school in debt with? $500,000. So you got an economy that's working for the rich, you got a healthcare system that is broken, you got an education system that is broken, and you got a housing system that is totally broken. You know, I did some calculations. I'm not 100% sure of this. But it's, again, I said my family had no money, but we lived in a rent-controlled apartment. And I figured it out, given my dad's salary, we ended up paying about 18% of our income in housing, 18%. Does anybody here know anybody that's paying 18% today? The truth is that we got 20 million households that are paying 50% or more for housing. So if you're paying 50% for housing of your income, what the hell do you have left to spend on? You have nothing, right? So you got a housing system broken, educational system being really attacked right now, healthcare system broken. And everybody knows the importance of good quality food to stay healthy, right? Anyone go to the grocery store lately or try to buy decent quality food and see the price? So bottom line is, in the richest country in the history of the world, people on top never had it so good. And yet for the basic necessities of life, healthcare, education, food, housing,
open presence is paying for the hundo.
Struggling. Brothers and sisters, we need to do two things at this difficult moment in American history. Number one is we got to take on Trump every day of the week in every way we can. And it's not just taking them on economic issues. We got to end the absurd foreign policy that we have right now, which is spending billions of dollars to starve children in Gaza. And one of the reasons that I want Graham Plattner in the Senate with me is he will stand with me. No more money for the Israeli war machine that is destroying the people of Palestine. But in order to be successful politically, it's not good enough to simply take on the oligarchs every day. What we need to do, which the Democratic Party leadership doesn't do, is a vision where we want this country to be.
Dude,
and let me
it's
just
so funny. Chatter's
all
like listening to Bernie Sanders for the first time, not from like the perspective of a fucking 15-second clip. Shocked that he's saying this. He hasn't stopped saying this since 2016, okay?
I don't know that we can get into it tonight, but that's a whole other issue. But we have the potential to become even richer. And from a world historical point of view, throughout the history of the world, and today,
it's not a change in discourse from Bernie. You guys are wrong.
Trying to survive on $1 a day.
He just doesn't call it a genocide, which is still a failure in my opinion.
History. Human beings have struggled just to stay alive. For the first time in world history, human history, we now have the opportunity with sane democratic policies to create a decent life for every man, woman, and child in this country. That is not a radical idea. So what I am begging of you, is don't think small, think big. Health care is a human right. Every man, woman, and child. We need Medicare for all. And I want young people to become doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals without going deeply into debt, because we desperately need you. Now you tell me in this great and inventive country where we have so many brilliant minds, you tell me why we are not having the best educational system in the world. We used to be the best educated country on earth. That's no longer the case. I want every young person to know, from 3 years of age on, that he or she does their work with all of the education they need, regardless of the income of their family. Education is a human right. We need to attract the best and the brightest into education and pay them the kind of salaries that their work demands. Which is why I've introduced legislation that no teacher in America should make a starting salary of less than $60,000 a year. We can do it. You're going to have the best child care system in the world, best higher education system in the world. And maybe, just maybe, instead of spending $1 trillion on the Pentagon, a government agency which cannot even complete an independent audit, massive waste and fraud, maybe instead of spending $1 trillion on the Pentagon, we spend a few $100 billion building low-income and affordable housing in America. Maybe instead of giving tax breaks to the fossil fuel industry, we start investing in the cheapest form of new electricity, solar and wind, to create millions of jobs to save the planet. And maybe here on Labor Day, we make it clear that at a time when millions of workers understand the importance of unions and want to join unions, we're going to pass legislation to prohibit corporations from firing workers who want to join a union. We're going to pass the PRO Act. We're going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $17 an hour. We're going to end the absurdity of being one of very few countries in the world that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. Now, at a time when so many seniors are struggling, when half of older workers have nothing in the bank as they face retirement, you got Republicans out there talking about their desire to cut Social Security. Well, we're not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand Social Security benefits. And we're going to do that by lifting the cap on taxable income so the wealthy start paying their fair share of taxes. absolutely. Let me give you, very often I get criticized, like every day. And people say, oh, Bernie is a radical, he's out of the mainstream and all that stuff. I want you to understand, please understand that everything we are talking about are supported by a majority of the American people. These are not radical ideas.
Bernie bros live in the past, old messaging and warns reach a new audience. I think you're wrong about that. And the only reason why I say that is because, like, his fucking platform has grown tremendously, especially when he's basically seen as like a figurehead for a new way that the Democrats could actually fight back. It's evidenced by the crowd sizes that you can point to, even in this fighting the oligarchy tour thing that he's been doing. His crowds have grown larger and larger. And there are many people around him. There are many people in this crowd that are far more radical in a lot of positions than Bernie Sanders himself. It's the same thing that I said initially with the fighting the oligarchy tour as well. The saddest part about it is, of course, that, the expectation is all on the expectation all lies in the hands of a 800-year-old man.
Powerless. What they're saying is they have all the money, they have all of the power, you got nothing. And they can do anything they want, and you can't stop them. Well, I think we've got some news for them. Not only can we stop them, not only will we stop them, but for the future of this country and, in fact, the world, we must stop them. Today on Labor Day, when we thank the unions for all they have done for the working class of this country, we understand and remember what a union is. A union is the understanding that one person cannot do it alone, that we all have got to come together to fight with and for each other. And what the union movement is about is solidarity forever. Thank you all.
Oh, this room has a good white people energy. Props to Maine. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Why does Bernie not say genocide? He's so close. Anyways, to saying it was stopping him. I already told you, because he is a liberal Zionist. Okay. That's it. That's it.